Hello and welcome to the Candlelight Podcast, where I, Mohamed Abdalla, talk about different topics, including some of my favorites, which are movies, martial arts, and philosophy. Guys, before we start with this week's quote, Eid Mubarak to everyone listening. It's just been Eid a few days ago, and I'm filming this actually after the Eid vacation, the Eid holiday, and I just wanted to wish everyone here Eid Mubarak, a blessed, Eid full of happiness and joy and blessings. So we just celebrated the holy day, the holiday of Eid, which is to commemorate what our figurative forefather Ibrahim alayhi salam, peace be upon him, has done, which is sacrifice what he loves most for his Lord, for God. So, as we know the story, it's present in the Bible as well, just as it is in the Islamic tradition, that Abraham, took his son to sacrifice him to God after God commanded him in a dream to sacrifice his son. And once he woke from that dream, he contemplated about it, like thinking, this is my son we're talking about here. And his son, in the Islamic tradition, it's Ishmael, and in the biblical tradition, it's actually Isaac, Ishaq, alayhim as-salam. And peace be upon them, because they're all prophets. All three characters here are prophets. Peace be upon them all. But in the Islamic tradition, it's Ismail. And he says to his father, who, after he hears about this dream, this vision his father has seen, that do what your Lord commands. The Lord knows what's good. And he's the all-wise. Do what he commands. And so they carry out the deed. And Abraham goes to sacrifice his son, but is stopped and instead sacrifices is that a goat or a sheep? Oh man, I misremember this. But it was, an animal instead of his, one second. Sorry about that. The studio, as you can see here, was actually interrupted by someone who wanted to ask about something. But hey, we're back. Studio. So much for a studio. But we're back, and so where did I leave off? So Abraham was going to sacrifice his son, do what God told him to do. But instead, this was a test by God, and he wasn't, really due to sacrifice his son. Instead, he sacrificed an animal in his place. And this is to commemorate the idea that, Eid al-Adha, the Eid holiday that we just, went through. This is to commemorate the idea that, our forefather Ibrahim alayhi salam, peace be upon him, he carried out what God commanded him to do. And just goes to show, and this is why it's called Eid al-Adha, the Eid of sacrifice. It's Adha, sacrifice. That's the word. So he was about to sacrifice his son for the command of, by the command of his Lord, but instead he sacrificed an animal. And that's what we do every year, actually. We sacrifice an animal on Eid. Every single family sacrifices an animal. That's kind of how we do it. That's kind of like the tradition. And we also get together and, send happy blessings and prayers and thoughts to everyone we meet. And here I am expressing to you a Eid Mubarak. Even though it's, this is filmed after Eid has been over with. So yeah, with that said, guys, let's get to today's quote. So today we have quite a long quote, but condensed into one sentence. So let's get the long quote first by Eleanor Roosevelt, the former First Lady of the United States. And this is from her book, You Learn by Living, 11 Keys for a More Fulfilling Life. So this is from her book, which I haven't read, by the way, but I did read this quote. So this is kind of like the long quote, and then I'll give you the shorter one. You gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You are able to say to yourself, I have lived through this horror, and I can take the next thing that comes along. You must do the thing you think you cannot do. And that's really the important part there at the end. That's what I've condensed into, just one phrase, which is, do what you think you cannot do. The reason I took this quote and decided to share it is because that's That's really the way you have to approach life. The experiences you're gonna have are experiences you've never had. So, in order to kind of like progress and see and kind of develop yourself as a human, you kind of have to do things that you've never done before and things you don't know that even you could even do, if that makes sense. So do what you think you cannot do. If you're afraid of doing something, and that's something you feel like you have to do it. I'll give you an example. When I was young, and this is like a very kind of like so what example, but hey, it kind of expresses this point. I was back in 2014, I believe I was 15 years old, and I was in this theme park where there was this huge ride, this huge ride that was really scary, that had all sorts of barrel rolls and flips and what have you, and a roller coaster. And I was really afraid to do it. I was really afraid to play it. That was back when I was really afraid of roller coasters, which, thanks to that instance, I am not till this very day. I'm not afraid of roller coasters anymore, no matter how big or scary they are. I've ridden the best in the world. I've ridden the scariest in the world. We have some of the best here in the UAE, and I've gone abroad and I've tried some of the other scariest there, and I'm really kind of immune to the fear of roller coasters, but it really stems and goes back to this root moment where I decided, even though that I was afraid and I didn't think I could handle or going on a ride like this, I still decided to push myself and do it. And I went on that ride and I enjoyed that ride, and I realized the fear is all in my mind, and I will be able to enjoy any ride. I'll not be afraid, I'll be able to handle it physically. So I just kind of got rid of that fear. Why fear something? Why, fear something if it's not gonna hurt you? Or not necessarily hurt you, but it's not gonna damage you in any way, harm you. So after that day, I just kind of went into every single roller coaster with a non-fearing heart. Just, go in there knowing it's gonna be fun, and it is fun, but there's none of the fear before, which I don't know. I'm not sure. I think it may be a double-edged sword actually, because now the thrill is kind of lessened when anticipating a ride, because I'm going for a ride, but I don't have the extra thrill that comes from fearing something, not knowing what's gonna happen. So that's interesting. I got rid of it, and now I'm not afraid of it. Afraid of riding scary roller coasters, but here I am now enjoying them still, but it's not to the same level of excitement. I guess I've made that point clear. So just do what you think you cannot do. That's really something, whatever it is, it's across the board. It applies to many different things, not just just riding roller coasters. It's more than that, obviously. And this coming from Eleanor Roosevelt, who I believe went through the Second World War and the First World War in her lifetime. And the second one was, I believe, when her husband was in office. So there's something. Even though you can argue the First Lady has nothing to fear because she's the most protected woman on the planet, possibly. But nonetheless, the point stands. So, yeah. So anyway, guys, this week has been pretty cool for me. We celebrated Eid. We went to a hotel in the Palms of Dubai, where we just kind of sat down with a lot of family members. Really enjoyed ourselves. Had some fun experiences, some new experiences too. Like I actually tried parasailing for the first time in my life. Parasailing was actually, now that was a thrilling thing to try, because I didn't know how I would handle. I actually kind of knew, to kind of express this properly. A roller coaster, what happens. You're kind of like tucked in, comfortably, and you just go through the motions, and within a minute you're done, kind of thing. But in a parasailing type thing, you really have a lot of faith that you're gonna stay up there in the parachute that you're sitting on, and you're not gonna fall to your demise to the ocean beneath you, to the sea beneath you, which you are very high from, at least 100 feet above. So it's kind of scary, trying it for the first time, because I was like, well, actually, the fear was not really so much as that. No, of course, I put my trust in God by making sure that, this is a safe parasailing experience. People have done it before, and it's in the Palm of Jumeirah 5-star hotels. It's not going to be something that's really defunct. It's something that's going to be prone to fail. So I had my trust in that the people that were kind of like working on it were doing the right thing, were doing their job properly, and I had my faith in God that I'm not gonna get hurt. What was scary is that panic attack that you might get from being up there and realizing you're like over 100 feet above sea level, and you might come crashing down in some weird way and maybe hurt yourself by hitting the ocean floor, the ocean surface too hard, because that can happen. You can break your arm, break your leg, or even get a head injury, or even die by slamming into the sea so hard, slamming into the water. So I was kind of afraid that might happen, because I've had panic attacks before, and they come in the most I've had it twice maybe, and they come in weird situations, but not unaggravated. Alhamdulillah, thank God, I've never had a panic attack out of nowhere by where there was no where there was no, how would you say, no instigation to it. No, the times I've had panic attacks, which were basically two, there was an instigation to it. I was in a crowded place. I felt like, what if I couldn't get out of here? It was something. I was actually in a mosque. Actually, I felt like I've been praying my whole life, going to mosques and everything. But for some reason, it happened twice that I felt like, what if I just pass out right now? What's gonna happen? I can't get out of here. People are lined wall to wall, and there are lines behind me. I can't get out of here until the prayer is done. And then it kind of got to my head, and I had a panic attack for some reason. But hey, so I was afraid I'm gonna have a panic attack again when I get up there at that height, above the sea, and seeing a boat that drags me that I can't really call to because it's too loud. They won't be able to hear me. I'm just gonna have to wait out the 10 minutes. I was afraid I might get a panic attack, but thank God, alhamdulillah, I kept my cool. Thank God. So it was fine. It was a cool experience, but there was a little, a bit of a thrill to it as well because of that. So yeah, I really enjoyed my week. It was really fun. And speaking of my week, I think, it was actually last week that I watched the film, Luca, the new Pixar movie. The new Pixar movie, Luca. Yeah, that was a good movie, but I have my comments on it. So, I feel like I need to rewatch the film to see what I might have missed, because I felt the theater feeling that it wasn't more than an okay movie, which is bad by Pixar standards. Pixar always produces great movies every single year. Every Pixar movie I have to go watch. But for some reason, this movie just wasn't that good for me. You know what other movie I have to watch as well that I didn't? Coco. Coco is a movie I didn't really rewatch, and I kind of missed a lot of, what the lessons of the movie was. I guess in that movie was family, things to do with family. And in this movie, Luca, the life lesson was basically to be more open-minded, tolerant, and more, and don't dismiss other people by having an irrational prejudice against them. Pretty basic. But hey, good life lessons are important in kids' movies, even though it's pretty basic. But the thing I do not like about Disney movies, I don't know why, but I have an issue with the disrespect given to parents in Disney movies. I don't know why just almost every single Disney movie there's always that stubbornness against family and not listening to them. And dude, if you're a kid listening to this, your family probably knows what's good for you. Listen to them. They probably know better than you what's good for you, and just listen to them. And once you grow up, you make your own decisions. But for some reason, on all these kids' movies, especially Disney movies, they're showing you that the kids disobey their parents, and they're better off for it. That was the right thing to do. Yes, it's in some cases disobeying your parents is the right thing to do, But when you showcase it in every single Disney movie, it kind of sends out the wrong message that is always the right thing to do, which is to disobey your parents and disrespect them. And it's not. So that's a pet peeve that I have, that I kind of, tell my younger siblings and cousins, sometimes these movies have good in them that you have to listen to. For example, like being open-minded and things like that, and not having irrational not feelings, prejudices and things like that. But they mess up when they talk about parents. For some reason, in Moana, in Brave, in whatever movie, it's always, parents are wrong, the kid is right, the young kid is right, and the kid should do what he wants to do. It's kind of weird. It's really just, kind of weird to have to watch that with kids and be like, yeah, that's not the way it's supposed to be. But in this specific instance that this movie presents, where there's magical beings and magic everywhere, and impossible circumstances, yeah, sure, whatever. But thankfully, my younger siblings are smart enough to know that. I need to rewatch the movie, like I said, because there are some things I probably have missed, and I want to make sure that I didn't miss the important things, like I did kind of in Soul. The first time I watched Soul, I didn't really, grasp everything. I didn't really process everything. But then the second time I watched it, I realized this was a really good movie that I should, that should be, looked at a deeper perspective, like most Pixar movies. And Onward is a good movie from the get-go, from the beginning, from the first viewing. But I want to rewatch it again because I didn't rewatch it as well. And see what more I can get from it in terms of life lessons, wisdom, because they tend to be pretty good at that, Pixar movies and Disney movies in general. So yeah, another movie that I've actually rewatched a few days back is The Expendables. So yeah, kind of a shift in genre with regard to what movies I'm talking about. The Expendables, action movie filled with action stars. It was, the second movie, and it's a good movie with solid action stars. And yeah, I really just enjoyed it. Enjoyed the action of it. Enjoyed, the ruggedness it brings, and just something to do with being competent, doing the thing that you could do. Just being awesome. Action movies, I just love all of that stuff. Call me crazy, but hey, I'm a dude. I love that stuff. So yeah, Sylvester Stallone obviously is the main character, with Jason Statham, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Bruce Willis, and Chuck Norris, and all these action hero movie stars, just all lined up there with him. Jason Statham, it's did I mention Jason Statham? I think I did. I don't know. Anyway, because he's the other main character in the movie next to Sylvester. Yeah, it doesn't. Their in-movie names don't really matter. It's who they are in real life that we know them as. Sylvester's name in the movie is Barney, but I don't really care for that name. I'm just gonna call him Stallone. So there you go. The movie is really cool. Showcased a good cast, a decent plot, and really good action. I like that the villain was Jean-Claude Van Damme, and his right-hand man was Scott Adkins. Scott Adkins, when he was young, he was inspired by Jean-Claude Van Damme. He was like, I want to do what that guy does. When he was young, he was watching, Jean-Claude Van Damme movies like, Bloodsport and Kickboxer. And he was like, this is what I want to do. Be an action star. Martial arts action movie hero, And that's exactly what he is nowadays. Making really good martial arts movies that are pretty cool. Scott Adkins and Jean-Claude Van Damme being awesome. Did that as well. He actually fought Stallone in the movie in the very end. Boss fight. It was so cool. Jason Statham versus Scott Adkins and Jean-Claude Van Damme versus Sylvester Stallone made for some very good fight scenes. But good fight scenes by Hollywood standards, but not that good when you compare them to what we have in Asian cinema. Like the other martial arts movies. The likes that Donnie Yen present, or Iko Uwais, and other great martial artists that come from China. Not China necessarily, Asia. So because you got Indonesians doing awesome stuff as well, and people from Hong Kong, and people from Japan. It's pretty cool stuff. Oh, and another movie that I've rewatched, and this is the last movie I rewatched I'm going to talk about, was, whatchamacallit, the X-Men. Pretty good movie, but not much to say. Then yeah, that was a blast from the past. The X-Men movies. Wolverine, was there, and he was younger because obviously Hugh Jackman was younger by the filming of the very first movies, the original trilogy before he made X-Men Origins and the Wolverine and Logan, the last movie he played Wolverine in. So interesting, just a blast from the past. Enjoyed it, but hey, a new movie that I watched that was really intriguing was a movie I haven't watched before. It's called In the Heart of the Sea. The main character there was, the actors there were pretty cool. Benjamin Walker, Chris Hemsworth, and Tom Holland. And Brendan Gleeson. Pretty good movie, actually. The movie's based not on the book Moby Dick, but rather on the original story that inspired Moby Dick. So it was like, there's the original events that happened. There's Moby Dick, but the movie made its movie based on the original story, and showed in the film the writer of Moby Dick actually writing it down, hearing it from one of the crewmates that went through the events that the movie showcases. So pretty interesting movie. Shows you how dangerous how dangerous life can really be. How the world is just the world itself is unfair and cruel, and how dangerous it can really be. Going out to sea, just to give you some examples. In this movie, going out to sea, but in other, just not movies, but in real life, people going down mine shafts, people working, manual labor, and just working in factories. It just showcases how dangerous the world can be, and how, men have worked and have died as a result of their work. How risky it is, but they still do it because it supports their families. Men doing their jobs to support families. Wow, it's just really interesting to see what people have gone through. Like, look at me. This is what I'm doing right now. I don't really have a job yet. Obviously, I'm not. I didn't graduate. I've been through the military, but that's something that everyone has done. I've served, but I'm here doing a multimedia job where the biggest risk I have is just not finding enough clients, I guess. I'm here recording something that's pretty cool, cozy in my own bedroom, and just editing. That's my whole thing, basically. Not much to do with risk, but there are people that are actually having to go in the heart of the sea and actually do some whaling missions, and where they try to kill whales in order to get whale oil. And that's something that I'm not sure if it still happens today. I haven't actually read up on that, but that's something that people did. They took risks, man, and they had some consequences, some negative consequences, as showcased in this movie, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool way to showcase it. Got really cool actors to play these characters and showcase what they've been through, the troubles, and just the grim reality that this world sometimes is. You're lost at sea for weeks, months even, and you have nothing to eat except, guess what? The dead carcass, the dead corpse of your crewmate who just died because there was no food or water. That's all you have to eat. And you barely even have water to drink. It's crazy. Crazy movie. Showcased a lot of that, the reality of what could happen. That did happen. And man, movies like that, and war movies, they just show you how horrible life can be. Just how unfair it is. But alhamdulillah, this world, this life isn't everything. There is an afterlife where we're gonna enjoy ourselves if we were good people here. Just be a good person, live your life well, worship God alone, and you will be fine. Just, sure, you'll go through troubles. Everybody's gonna go through significant problems and troubles in their lifetime. But hey, that's just life. And it's really just this little worldly life. Imagine, I remember someone that was on stage, and a video that I saw kind of showcased how small this worldly life is compared to what comes after. He kind of brought a long rope, you know? And the entire rope was like colored red, I think. And there was this little part in the beginning of the rope that was yellow. And he was like, guys, this is how much you'll live. This is your worldly life. It's that small. That's the thing that's the amount of time you'll feel pain. And now imagine all the rest of this, which is the entirety of the red line. And he was like, why do we care so much for this little period of time where we'll suffer when we can all have this? Guys, don't be negative. Don't be pessimistic. It's only a little short while and you'll be living in somewhere much better for the rest of eternity. So yeah, it's a reminder for me first and foremost, and then to everyone else. Yeah, that's what this life is, man. It's just this short thing that we're gonna, just this short thing that we don't have to stress too much about. So yeah, I guess those are the movies that I've watched this week. And to get into some MMA, Islam Makhachev, Habib's friend, longtime friend and training partner, just won and beat a ranked lightweight, Thiago Moises. A very tough opponent, but still, in a 5-round fight, Islam managed to get the submission finish victory in the 4th round. It was awesome. He dominated the whole fight. I talked about this last week, actually. And he dominated the whole fight. Not exactly, very dominant, but he dominated. He outclassed Moises in every turn. And he won the fight by submission. So, where does that leave Islam and the lightweight division? Oh, by the way, guys, the rankings have come in, the updated rankings, and Islam is actually number 5 at lightweight right now. He passed Tony Ferguson, Conor McGregor, who's at 9 right now, Dan Hooker, Rafael Dos Anjos. So Islam actually called out Rafael Dos Anjos at the end at his post-fight speech, post-fight interview, and he. So that's the fight I think they're gonna make, but maybe they're gonna make. There's a lot of matchups. Islam versus RDA, Islam versus Tony Ferguson, and Islam versus Beneil Dariush, or maybe even Michael Chandler. Very cool things to make. The future of lightweight is very interesting. Can't wait for Poirier and Charles Oliveira to fight and see who comes out of that victorious, because that's a great fight as well. And this is really interesting what's going on in lightweight. But let's shift our focus a bit to the bantamweight division. Some heat is stirring up in that top 5. TJ Dillashaw, who was suspended 2 years for, performance-enhancing drugs, he's back, and he's fighting Cody Sandhagen at Sunday morning for us here in the UAE. And I can't wait for that fight, because that's going to be an interesting fight to see who gets, who gets the title shot, really. Cody Sandhagen is coming off of 2 very, very impressive knockout wins against, Frankie Edgar and Marlon Moraes. So if he gets another win, an impressive win as well, if he just beats Dillashaw, that'd be awesome. He's gonna get the next title shot. Excuse me. But TJ is no slouch, and he's been a champion for a while. I just want to see, is TJ the same after he stopped using the performance enhancing drug that is EPO, and can he hang with the top bantamweights at this point? So what I really want to happen is that Sandhagen just beats Dillashaw, because Dillashaw is a cheater, and cheaters just shouldn't really fight again, honestly. And I really want to see him just beat him and go get his title shot, which will be, and who he fights against will be determined by Jan versus Aljamain Sterling in the near future. They're going to fight, and we're going to see who gets the belt after that weird first fight that they had. I think Jan's going to pull it off. He was pretty dominant in the first fight, and I think he can beat Aljamain again, really beat him this time, and get his belt back. And maybe we'll get to see Sandhagen versus Petr Yan, which is an interesting fight. But man, I really can't wait to see all this unfold, because this is really cool. I can't wait to see the lightweight division unfold. I can't wait to see the bantamweight division unfold. I can't wait to see the heavyweight division unfold, because Derek Lewis is fighting Ciryl Gane, which we're going to talk about another time. It's the next pay-per-view, and whoever wins gets to fight Francis Ngannou. All cool stuff, man. All cool stuff. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens. And yeah, so guys, this was the Candlelight Podcast by yours truly, Mohamed Abdalla. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you come back for more. And once again, do what you think you cannot do. See you guys in the next one. Peace.